Amidst grey mountains, where green lightning flashed at their peaks barely visible through the dense fog, stood a lone castle. It seemed to be part of the very landscape, its black towers and sharp spires rising high into the sky, as if trying to pierce it. Inside, the castle was just as gloomy and majestic. Long corridors with Gothic arches covered in cobwebs and dust indicated that no living person had set foot here for a long time. A tall man, dressed in heavy dark robes adorned with mystical symbols, slowly approached the castle. His face was covered in scars, and long grey hair hung loose on his shoulders. This was Malakar Blackbone, a great necromancer, but as always, he was plagued by bad luck. He grumbled to himself, cursing his fate. How could it be? I failed to conquer a small village because of some crow. Everyone laughed at me. They laughed till they dropped. Walking through the long, neglected corridors of the castle, Malakar noticed his servants, creations of his own hands. These clumsy beings looked crooked and strange, their bodies covered in stitches and improper joints. They were trying to clean the castle, but their efforts only led to more chaos. Cobwebs hung from the ceilings, dust rose in clouds, and pieces of plaster fell from the ceiling. Malakar just slapped his forehead, looking at this mess. Why me? Why am I so unlucky? Damn that crow. Entering his study, he slammed the door loudly. The study was filled with ancient books, magical artifacts, and strange potions standing on shelves. In the center of the room was a large table covered with scrolls and parchments. With a grimace on his face, he said, "I'll show them all. A small village? No, I'll conquer an entire world." He feverishly began rummaging through old books inherited from his father. Flipping through pages and throwing books on the floor, he muttered non-stop, "I know it's here somewhere. Father told me about interdimensional travel." Finally, after almost half a day, he found what he was looking for. It was a small book with a tiny gemstone on the cover. Malakar placed a marking spell on it, so that next time he wouldn't have to search for it, knowing exactly where it was. This book contained only one ritual, but it was exactly what the necromancer was looking for. After studying it, Malakar began searching for all the necessary ingredients for the ritual. The battlefield was littered with shattered stone warriors, their fragments covering the ground, reflecting the crimson light of the setting sun. Among the debris, triumphantly stood the samurai, Kaito Fuyunori. He was tall and lean, with long black hair tied in a messy bun. His slightly unshaven face added to his charm, and his worn but still colorful samurai armor gleamed in the last rays of the sun. An old but sharp sword hung at his side, which according to him had saved him in countless battles. At the edge of the battlefield stood a small, battered squad, clearly having survived a tough battle. In front of the squad, wearing armor indicating his high rank, stood their commander. He was shouting names and handing out wages for the battle. When it was Kaito's turn, the commander called out to him. "Kaito, are you going to take your money or don't you need it?" he said with a smirk, then whispered with a small sneer, "Lucky bastard, didn't get a scratch, was late to the fight, tripped, and while falling, managed to defeat a crowd of stone statues. Ended up better than the rest of us." "Mine!" Kaito exclaimed, and in the blink of an eye, appeared before the commander, grabbed the pouch of money, and dashed toward the town. His run looked somewhat clumsy. He stumbled, but somehow managed not to fall, and the money jingled in the pouch at his waist. At the edge of a neat town stood a small, beautiful tavern, with carved wooden doors and windows, from which warm light poured out. Inside, a cozy atmosphere reigned. Dark wooden tables, soft lamplight, and the smell of fried snacks and sake. This was where the samurai headed. Entering the tavern, Kaito noticed two girls who were bored at one of the tables. Wasting no time, he headed towards them. Not taking his eyes off the girls, he threw a coin to the bartender on the go. "Sake for us, the best," Kaito said with a satisfied grin. The bartender, smirking, dutifully served him and the girls glasses of sake. Settling comfortably and downing his glass in one gulp, Kaito began to tell the girls, who were smiling slyly, looking from the samurai to his purse, how he nobly and miraculously defeated a huge number of enemies. And there I was, alone against dozens, Kaito began, waving his hands for greater effect. My sword flashed in the air, and each strike was as precise as an archer's shot. I jumped over the heads of enemies, performing acrobatic tricks that would amaze even circus performers. The stone warriors fell one by one, and dust billowed up into the air. I immersed myself more and more in the battle. The girls listened to him with interest, although they understood that most of these details he invented on the go. Kaito continued, "And then, when the last of the enemies fell, I stood among the debris, covered in dust. The commander approached me and said, 'Kaito, you are a great warrior, and we are proud of you.'" He finished, filling another glass of sake. Malakar had already prepared everything for the ritual. In the middle of the study, a magical circle was drawn, with black candles burning with mysterious green flames along its perimeter. Various artifacts lay in the center of the circle, an ancient scroll with worn runes, crystals glowing with a faint blue light, a vial of dragon's blood emitting a sinister red glow, and a skull of an unknown creature with empty eye sockets. Magic filled the air, adding a heavy anticipation to the room. Malakar began the ritual, reading the spell from the book. Luctus en verum, portalius ad vera, secundo lamina, paratus fera. With each word uttered, a portal began to open before him, a bluish haze becoming more even and clear, turning into a transparent mirror. But as Malakar was almost done reading the spell, his cloak accidentally caught on a candle and caught fire. Not finishing the incantation, he quickly started putting out his burning garments, knocking over nearby objects loudly. At the noise, one of his crooked servants burst into the study and, accidentally opening the door, pushed the necromancer straight into the portal. With a shout of "Damn!" Malakar instantly disappeared along with the portal. In the cozy tavern, where an atmosphere of calm and merriment reigned, a portal suddenly opened in the form of a blue haze. The necromancer flew out of it, leaving a dent in the wall and causing an unusual magical wave that overturned half the bar and burst almost all the bottles, except one standing on Kaito's table. All the patrons of the tavern fled in fear or hid in corners. One of the girls who was with Kaito immediately ran away, while the other clung tightly to him. Kaito, being a little drunk and cheerful, didn't quite understand what had happened. He detached the girl from himself and, hiccuping, said, "I'll handle this." Approaching the necromancer, who was brushing himself off, with a bottle of sake in one hand and a saucer in the other, Kaito kindly asked, "Are you okay? Everything all right?" and poured a bit of sake into the saucer, extending it to Malakar. "Here, drink, relax. We're all relaxing here," Kaito said with an awkward smile. Before he could finish speaking, Malakar struck the saucer out of Kaito's hand with his staff, making it fall to the ground. "Get away, pathetic human!" Malakar snarled, trying to cast a spell to push the samurai away, but he realized his magical energy was depleted. The necromancer ran towards the exit, knowing he needed to restore his energy. Kaito, picking up the fallen saucer, said, "Hey, that's not nice." He suddenly straightened up and, being drunk, accidentally slapped the necromancer with the saucer, sending Malakar flying several meters towards the exit. Realizing he wasn't a warrior but a mage without magic, Malakar quickly got up and ran out of the tavern, heading towards the forest, harboring a grudge against Kaito. Kaito, with a slurred "Sorry, I didn't mean to," ran out after the necromancer, but didn't see him anymore. Slightly annoyed by the unsuccessful evening and the fact that he couldn't find his pouch of money, he realized that the girls had stolen it. Kaito trudged home, hoping to sleep and find another job, as he didn't want to go hungry.